AFCON 2023, and the Pharaohs have drawn 2-2 with Mozambique. Guys, we actually did a video about team nicknames and I forgotten Mozambique's. This is quite embarrassing. Are they the Mambas? The Mambas. Yes, the Mambas. The Pharaohs draw with the Mambas. This was a wild game. After Mozambique got the second goal, we were there. We were there for the upset. We were waiting. And the coach, Conde, was actually just so close. The Mozambique team was so close. Only for one moment of dumbness from our defender, our boy Makanza. Makanza is his name. Our boy Makanza. He decided to just volley Mohamed's foot with both feet. And it was so blatant. At first, we all thought it was a foul. After kicking him, he starts rolling around like he's been shot by a sniper. So we were like, maybe he's actually like been kicked, right? Nothing. He was just trying to sell it to the ref. Then went to VAR, penalty was given. Almost without hesitation. The man Mo Salah has had a dodgy history with penalties, so there was like a moment there where you thought that he might miss the penalty, but he did well to score off the post and actually save Egypt. This was going to be one of few famous victories for Mozambique against a big dog, a 7-time champion of AFCON. And yeah, Mo Salah came through, equalized, game ended 2-2, but I was quite impressed by a few players in Egypt, but more by the Mozambique players. So for Egypt, I think Mohamed was quite solid up front. So the one thing about Mohamed is the last tournament, he didn't score and he was criticized quite a lot, and I feel like that kind of got to him. So you could tell how goals affect his confidence. Sort of reminds me of someone like Højlund, right? Højlund, who got his first goal against Aston Villa and all of a sudden feels like a changed man. Today was also Tottenham versus Man United. You saw how he took his goal. So Mohamed reminds me a lot of him, like just a striker who, even his effort, once he gets goals, the effort, the way he runs into space, it all changes, right? Chasing after 50-50s, he was really, really good up front, especially with Mo Salah right next to him. Then, yeah, he took his goal quite well early on, scored within the first 2 minutes. There's been a lot of early goals this weekend. I think Ivory Coast game, there was one within a few minutes. Which other game? The United game. Like, I'm talking about United a lot in this video. Forget about United. Yeah, but yeah, there have been a lot of early goals this weekend, the opening weekend of AFCON and even just generally in football. So Mo Salah, cross comes in, Mo Salah just, I don't know what he was doing, totally miskicks. Ball comes to Mohamed, not even cleanly, like it just like there, then it just rolls the ball backwards. Really good first touch, and second touch was just of a striker who was just wanted it more than anyone, and that was such a sublime finish. 1-0 up, Egypt went within 2 minutes, and at that point I thought it was curtains. I was like, hey, Mozambique, they're not careful, this is going to look like a crazy scoreline. It wasn't as crazy as the way Korea had predicted 4-0, but Mozambique did well. They did well to just galvanize, get the troops together, be more compact, and actually just run. Like, the work ethic and effort from this team was up there. The one thing you've realized about this AFCON is, if a team is trying to dominate you, no one is going to dominate you in more than 45 minutes, no one is going to dominate you over long periods of time, let's say 30 minutes of domination or 40 minutes, because the weather is too crazy. And international football is also like that, because these teams don't play together. They're not like club football where you play with your people every single minute of every day, so you know how everyone plays and the chemistry is there. For countries, it's a bit more difficult. It's harder to dominate because of that. You don't play with those guys every day. The chemistry is not as strong as when you're playing for your club. On top of that, the weather is just insane. It's just hot. It's just hot. So if you can come at that team, if they're coming at you, you just pressure them on the ball and until they get tired. So when they take their 10-15 minute break, that's when you pounce, right? So they managed to weather the storm. They hung in there. They actually went into halftime just 1-0 down. And 10 minutes of the second half, they came like a house on fire. First goal came in from Witty. There was the cross had who gave the cross? Who gave the cross? Domingos. So Dominguez. Dominguez came out. Domingos is the one who gave the cross. And the one person who really impressed me in that midfield was Guimaraes. So Guimaraes was playing as the midfielder, but he kept on, he was everywhere. He was very smart with his runs and stuff. And I think this is something you can tell they've really worked on, especially in the final third. They don't just give the winger and they cross. They like to they can cross from the wing or cross from the half space. And that's how the goal came in. So when Dominguez got the ball in the half space, he was occupying the Hamdi, I think. Hamdi was the Egyptian left back, and then Abdelmonem was the centre back. So he occupied him. He was going 1-on-1, but Abdelmonem and was going to double with Hamdi. Had Gimaresh made that run. When Gimaresh made that run, he forced Hamdi to now go wide. Now that meant it was 2-on-2. It was Ratifo and Witty versus Hegazi and Abdelmonem. And because Witty is coming in at pace, the cross was perfection. Just landed on his head and then he placed it in the corner. And that was it, 1-1. So their crossing from the half space was actually quite, like, it's something they've worked on, and you can tell. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, they know they are not great at passing from the back or playing there in the middle. So what they're going to do is just cross the ball. But the way they get to the position to cross is how they vary. And that's the unpredictability they have in terms of how they come at you. Then 2 minutes later, again, who scored the second goal? Guys, these names are many. Clesio scored the goal. And now it was Dominguez who actually, it was Gimaresh now who assisted the goal. So they win the ball is given to Gimaresh. He gives it to Ratifo, I think. Ratifo almost immediately just returns it to Gimaresh. And by doing that, he had pulled out Abdelmonem. And now El Neni was forced to go and play as a centre back. But El Neni is not used to tracking those runs. And it was just that moment of brilliance. I was like, at that moment, they just managed to pull out the centre back. When El Neni went in, that's when Clesio went through. And it was just executed to perfection. And then Hegazi, obviously, the man is like 7 foot. Too slow to try to tackle him, couldn't get to him. Clesio just tapped the ball. And went on 1-on-1 and finished. Great finish. And yeah, it was 2-1. At that point, I'm like, wow. Upset is coming. Mozambique fans, the Ivory Coast fans are all singing, Mozambique. The stadium is rocking. And yeah, our boy Makanza yet again struck and decided to foul Mohamed, the striker, Egyptian striker. And that's how Salah scored the equalizer. But I think for Egypt, this is going to be a very stern lesson. Like, you can't take these teams for granted. One thing I've seen about them is they do not pressure the ball well. They are quite, I won't say lethargic. Their pressure on the ball is not consistent, and they don't do it as a unit. That's how they consider the second goal, because there's no way. They've always had issues, like the last, when they were coached by what's his name, Carlos Queiroz. They were always quite defensive. Like, they would win games, but if they win by 1-0. Now they're attacking a bit more, but then now they're not defending well, especially in transition. Like, the transition from offense to defense is still a bit shaky. So a lot to work on. I much prefer watching them going forward this time around than last tournament. But there's a lot to work on, and if they're not careful, this group, they will. You don't want to finish second. You want to top the group and just leave it at that, So solid point for Mozambique. Disappointed they didn't get the win, and for Egypt, just gotta move on to the next one.